Even precursing, it was a precursor.
By a year or two, yeah.
By a year or two.
Brown versus the Board of Topeka, Kansas. This was the first actual case ever won. And basically what it said was a separate but equal thing didn't fly, you know. Facilities for people needed to be integrated, we were taxpayers, blah, blah, blah. It was won by a prominent Hispanic attorney at the time, one of the first few that we had at the time. I can't recall his name right now, but
perhaps,
I'll research it, bring it to a later show. Anyway, what happened is the John Birch Society steps in and starts calling the attorney and everybody else communist. They start calling John, Supreme Court Justice Earl a communist, you know, working with the Communist Party. Remember, these are the 50s. We're talking about the McCarthy era.
Red Scare.
You know, the Red Scare. We're talking about, you know, so this were the days of the everything that was associated with the modernization of the world beyond that provincial thing was associated with communism, and it was just a label to demonize again the movement. You know, you go out in these communities at that time, people, there was a lot of illiteracy and poverty. You ask them, you know, what is oppression? They can't even define oppression. Here you had some of the most undereducated people in South Texas, yet the John Birch Society was labeling them communist. You know, communism is a complex.
But aren't they? Are they or aren't they against segregation?
Yes,
Birch.
The John Birchers were the ones that opposed these desegregating facilities. In other words, Hispanics mixing with whites and blacks and so on and so forth.
And so they're being recruited here.
Yes.
Does John Birch Society, now that was half a century ago. Are you saying the John Birch Society still promotes racism?
It's being resurrected
in the Republican Party through these people you mentioned.
You know, I'm saying it's being resurrected through the Tea Party.
Through the Tea Party.
Make sure that most of the Tea Party members are Republican, but we can't say all. Yeah, mostly Caucasians.
So my question to you is, why should the voter, white, Republican, moderates, Democrats, independents, why should they care what these people do on the John Birch Society? Why does it matter so much?
Last night I went into the FBI site on the John Birch Society. Remember, let's go to one of the most conservative leaders of the FBI. We had Edgar Hoover.
And we got about 3 minutes left.
Edgar Hoover
and we're going to make it this is going to be another show altogether.
Labeled them as a lunatic fringe. And also that has separate tendency. Remember, they labeled Eisenhower a communist. You know, this
John
group,
Birch did.
Yeah, well, the John Birch Society. They also went as far as to say that you know, the Pentagon was working with the Communist Party.
But these guys are blasting you, and now you have been slandered on the. Well, you've been. You know, I saw what they put on the Facebook against you, and they're pretty much trying to put a target on your back for these neo-Nazis to come and try to harm you. Isn't that correct?
Well, because I'm exposing that Stormfront, another hate group, was going to be visiting Corpus Christi and recruiting people there at the Tea Party functions, that they've been mixing with some of the Tea Party members.
So has your life been threatened, or do you think that they're trying to put a target on your back? I know a prominent businessman who's affiliated with them put something on Facebook saying, trying to liken you to either, what, KKK? How can you be likened to KKK? That's absolutely ridiculous.
They're trying to suppress an investigation into the Tea Party. You know, they started a Facebook page targeting me, and here you have a prominent individual, Willie Vaden, you know, whom I've known for years, that has joined with some of those individuals, failed candidate, Republican candidate for state U.S. representative. He said that I've known Homer for years, about 8 years, but he's one of the worst hate mongers ever. How am I a hate monger? If I mean, he said he makes the KKK look like a kindergarten class. Let me say this to Willie Vaden and those individuals. When have I lynched people? When have I burned crosses in front of? When have I tied people to a chain and dragged them down the road with a truck? I mean, I'm a journalist. I'm trying to responsibly try to peel the onion. If there's a
but they don't like what you're writing. They don't like what you're writing at all.
I'm pointing out a hate element that exists in our community.
Well, we can't tolerate this in our community.
I think
that's not going to stand.
No, of course not. But if we take the majority of the people, do we want to return back to the 50s and 60s? You know, the majority of the people, I think, are in the middle, Joe. I think most ethnicities.
And you're not saying all members of the Tea Party are bad.
No. Many have. Remember, I'm talking about
many are there for good purposes.
I'm talking about the core leadership. And many people have been misled, lured, you know, falsely
they think
led
it's about
to join
taxes. They think it's about taxes.
But you have to know if
hatred.
the leadership is if you have a foundation of a home.
1 minute left. Take it away.
And it's based on hate. Anything that grows, that infrastructure, anything that grows from there, it's all going to lead to the foundation and what it is. That organization has already been poisoned. My investigation is a sincere one. It's not to promote Hispanics or anybody else. It's to report the truth so people make intelligent decisions. I think the majority of the people, if we give them the proper information, they'll come to a higher awareness, become positive people instead of negative people in moving this community forward. Do we want to go backwards or forward?
30 seconds. Why are some of the Republicans really worried about this John Birch element within their party?
Well, what happens is now we have a Republican chair that won for a Republican Party, and now they're starting to realize that his wife is Amy McClain, and which recently blasted me on Facebook, and I was wondering why, defending this John Birchers guy. Apparently she's part of this South Texans for Liberty. She's very close to Chuck Burnett. She's more concerned about defending the Birchers and Chuck Burnett than the Republican Party. What does that tell you about the new leadership that we have in the Republican Party? How can Hispanics allow them to put a target in their back? How can their children be put, you know, that target in their back, their family? You know, turn on radio in Corpus Christi. They want to turn the Memorial Coliseum, what they said, they want to use it as what they said, let's consider having it as a prison facility for suspected illegal immigrants. I mean, how can we tolerate there and allow our kids to be called anchor babies, to be called, you know, all this horrible, horrible stuff that is occurring? Why all this Hispanophobia, this demonization? It needs to stop. We're reaching out to rational people that will meet us halfway. I'm asking Latinos also to control themselves. Don't label people falsely. Not everybody in the Tea Party is part of that lunatic fringe.
That's right.
Let's meet in the middle. Let's have a rational discussion.
Let's collaborate.
You know, let's get it solved.
And if people want to go on your Facebook, how do they get on there?
To get on Facebook, just look up Homero Villarreal, and that's basically it.
And your email is Defensor?
Well, we have The Defensor, THE Defensor, DEFENZOR @gmail.com.
Okay, and Homero, this is we just scratched the surface. I hope you come back for a 4-part series on this because it's so important. I want to thank you for coming by, and you've been listening to Homero Villarreal, the publisher of El Defensor, and also the new La Politica and the owner of Royal House Publishing. And we were talking about hate groups, the Tea Parties, the John Birch Society, and how it may, and the Arizona laws that may have ramifications for South Texas and Texas in general. So tune in next week. We'll be bringing back Mr. Villarreal. I hope you can join us.
Yes.
And watch your back. You know. But you've been through many campaigns. But anyway, Diamond Dave has told me we are way out of time, but I wish you could stay. So come back for another hour. Thank you all. And any last words?
Thank you, and enjoyed it, and you all take care.
All right. Thank you, and God bless.